Deals are usually more advanced. So that's book deals, movie deals, TV deals. It's when a third party is paying you a set fee for the creation of something, regardless of how it performs. It's usually tied to royalties.
Okay.
But then the S is one that everyone should pay attention to. The S is services.
Mm-hmm.
So you go, I am going to offer a service.
You got it.
And services are the fastest path to cash. Okay. The fastest way to make money is to offer your time to help somebody do something. Yeah. That's the good news. The bad news, it's the least scalable.
Yep, it involves you.
Long term, because it involves you. So you're trading time for money, which is why, my TED Talk that went viral in my second book is all about how to multiply time. And we talk about...
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. So how do you sort of break free from that? But, a lot of the clients we work with, and here's the thing. So this is something we call the law of AJ. So AJ is my wife. Yeah. She's our CEO. She's our her and I have been business partners. We were business partners in our former company. We started as business partners. Then we started dating. Then we got married. Then we grew the company, sold the company, and then we started Brand Builders. But AJ she has this thing because she sold over $2 million a year by herself.
Okay.
One person generating $2 million in revenue a year. You probably never heard of AJ Vaden. She doesn't have millions of followers. And that's why she calls it the law of AJ Vaden, which is you don't need millions of followers to make millions of dollars. Most of us, if we had a couple dozen of our perfect client, we would double, triple our income.
Totally true.
So service is a great place to start. So the brand DNA helix, those are the 6 questions. Normally, we have white pads up and we're drawing stuff on the walls, and we dump those out, and then your uniqueness lives at the intersection of those 6 questions, and there's hints, right? Like you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. So we're looking at your past. Another way we describe it, Ed, is we sometimes say that your uniqueness is at the intersection of who you have been and who you feel called to be.
I love this. By the way, I'm just thinking of people that I know, that we've talked about. I think about Jamie Kern Lima. We've brought her name up, so might as well stay there. This is someone who really struggled with insecurity about her skin condition that she had and wanting to solve that problem. And then she goes on to help millions of women feel more beautiful that were not feeling that way prior, potentially. I think of someone like Andy Frisella, my partner in my coaching program. This is a guy who was, 150 pounds overweight and know what it felt like to feel good about himself and struggle with that. And now he's powerfully positioned to help people get fit and healthy in their life. I think of someone like me. I struggle with self-confidence. I come from a place where I didn't have a lot of inspiration in my life. I was broke. I'm powerfully positioned to help people who lack self-confidence or lack self-esteem or need inspiration or want to become wealthy or want to live a better life and a more functional life. And so this is just brilliance, bro. And it's like if someone would just listen to the show and go, I'm going to give myself the gift of just contemplating some of these questions that Rory's asking, that the two of them are talking about on the show. There's at least something so far we've covered, and we're only halfway through, but that we've covered that would change your whole life, your business life, your emotional life, your purpose in your life, how you feel when you get up in the morning, etc. Did we go through all 6 or were we missing?
We did. We hit all 6.
Because I want to make sure, because this other little thing you say here, it's not little, but for me, it was huge. But it's this, how do I become known as a leader in my space? And you call it Sheehan's Wall.
Yeah,
this has to be talked about.
Yeah, we have to talk about this. So this is actually, we named it Sheehan's Wall after Peter Sheehan, who was a colleague and a mentor that originally taught it to me, and we've adapted a bit. But basically, in any industry, in any vertical, in any market, there's 2 groups of people. There are people who are unknown. They're struggling with obscurity. And then there are those who are known. They're recognizable, right? They have the reputation. They have the reach. They have notoriety.
Yep.
And in between obscurity and notoriety is a huge wall, an invisible wall that we refer to as Sheehan's Wall.
Okay.
And what most people do is most of us who are in obscurity, we look at the people who are in notoriety and we go, ooh, I want to be like them, so I'm going to do what they do. And so we have lots of different topics. Lots of different, and you go, okay, Tony Robbins, he talks about money and he talks about relationships and he talks about business mastery and he talks about, walking on fire and unleashing power within and health. Right now he's got a book on health. Or Oprah has all these different things. Or Gary Vaynerchuk, all these different things. And what happens is we bounce off the wall. We have too many messages to too many audiences, too many business models, and when you have diluted focus, you get diluted results. And so you bounce off the wall. And so the key to breaking through Sheehan's wall
Amen. Yep.
is to find your uniqueness. Find the one thing that you can do as good, if not better, than anyone else in the world, and you break through that wall. I mean, if you think about breaking through an actual wall, if you just took a sledgehammer and you were hitting all over, like, you wouldn't do anything. You have to hit the same spot over and over and over and over, and eventually there will be a little crack. And once you get that little crack, then then it opens, and then it opens, and then you burst through, and then the whole wall comes down. But you have to find that area of specificity, which we believe is in everybody. We believe it is a part of God's design for your life, that you have that uniqueness, but you can't be all things to all people yet. At some point you can. Like, you'll break through bigger and bigger walls. You're an example, right? You're going mainstream right now, so you're going to be breaking through bigger walls.
Yeah, but you're 100% right. Like, all, people I watch constantly sort of trying to replicate what I'm doing, and I'm like, no, I'm 51 years old. I built a bunch of businesses. I've had a pretty diverse life. I've been blessed to be successful in some different areas and also failure in certain areas. And I'm now at the point where the breadth of my message can be this wide. I can talk about health and wellness and emotional health and business and entrepreneurship and relationships and emotions and all these other things. You need to hit that same spot on the wall, because for me, that first wall was in the money business, was in the financial business. Kept hitting that wall, the real estate and financial business. And I broke that wall down. That is absolutely 1,000,000% right. I think people fatigue on the repetition of it.
They do.
And there's invisible progress I talk about in the book, as you know, the piñata analogy, where you're hitting this piñata and there appears to be no breakdown where all the candy's coming out of the piñata, but compound pounding matters. You're making more progress even if it's invisible than you think you are, but most people will quit hitting that spot on the wall because it doesn't look like it's breaking, and they get tired. They go, no, okay, now I'm going to start to talk about this, or I'm going to be the motivator on Instagram, right? And it's like, no, your space is here. Stay there. Keep pounding on the wall. Become great and a leader in that space. I 1,000,000,000% agree with you on that.
And here's how you know when you broke through the wall. That's the question. How do I know when I got there? Simple. When you're on the obscurity side of the wall, everything is push. Everything is hustle. Everything is fight. It's claw. It's persistence. It's just like go. Once you're on the notoriety side of the wall, everything is pull. Everything, all this stuff is coming at you. You have more than you can keep up with. And so now you have a new problem, which is too many opportunities. So and you're going like, now I still need to sort it. So you still need to have a level of focus to some extent.
The depth of your wisdom, brother, is so profound to me, because that's exactly right. Then the problem is the latter. And I'm struggling with this. Like, what do I say no to? There's all these different things. There's a thing that just occurred to me as we were talking. It occurred to me about 15 minutes ago, but I wanted to wait because I wanted to stay in this flow, which is that I'm beginning to really believe that there's a correlation between this idea of personal branding and beginning to just understand who you are as a person. That there's a correlation. Forget the business stuff, the money flow, the funnels, all these other things, your career. It's like the work you would do to get good at this is the work you should do to improve as a human being, right? That'll make you happier to know this is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is what I refuse to let stand in the world. These are the things I'm passionate about. This is what I'm angry about. This is what I'm strong about. This is what I feel good about. This is what makes me feel alive and home. I'm going to discover why I was born. And they're correlated. There's a connection between all of these business things we're talking about and your spirit and your well-being as a human being, as a soul on this earth. There's a correlation between, which is why it is so profound. Do you feel that way?
Totally. And when you're sitting in your uniqueness, like when you occupy that space, you can't be stopped. Yeah. You are put here on this earth to do something that nobody else can do. Yeah. And once you find it and you're sitting in it and you occupy it, you're activated. You are lighting up, and that's what it takes to break through the wall. Yeah. Right? It takes that passion, it takes that fire, it takes the divine. Like I tell you, I text you this all the time. I'm like, Ed, you're anointed. And you don't even know this story, but in January of this year, there was a church sermon, and we were leaving church, and the pastor asked us a question: what do you feel God prompting you to do that you're not listening to? And so we're leaving, and AJ asked me, and she says, what was your answer to the question? And I said, this is so weird, babe, but I feel God telling me, go all in on edmylettmotivationalspeech.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And I was like, but it doesn't, the problem was I didn't know you. I had just, John Gordon, our mutual friend, had just email introduced us, but it was just a very casual thing. And I said, I don't know. But and then,
That makes me feel wonderful. Thank you.
A few days later, well, that is what happens. When you find your uniqueness, you make yourself available to be used in the way that you were intended. And look, here's the thing about service, right? Remember the second part of what Larry said, exploit your uniqueness in the service of others. When I'm achieving, like when I'm competing, there's wins and there's losses. But when I am serving, there's only wins.
So true.
I cannot lose. Like when I am here available to be used. And look, I didn't know if Ed Mylett was going to say, oh, I like this Rory guy. I'll talk to him, right? You have access to anybody in the world. But you said something about it, said, I'm going to invite you in. Maybe because I was there available to be used. Maybe it was divinely orchestrated. Maybe you just had a practical problem in the world at one specific moment in the time, and I happened to show up and be someone who had the practical solution. Whatever it is, it all works together.
It was all the above, and it was also, I sort of know when I'm with someone special. I think all people are special, but some people arrive and own it. And they exude that energy. And other people that are just as special, they just haven't accepted it about themselves yet. Like just watching you talk about this, I'm watching your eyes, like there's a emotion tied to it for you because our convergence of our spirits together has already helped millions of people. Had we not met, some of those people would have never been reached before. And I'm like immensely grateful for it. I'm also sitting here thinking, I only do 52 of these shows a year. And I'm so grateful that I get to do it and that you and I are sitting here right now. Like, this is awesome. I'm so glad you showed up this freaking good today. You know what I mean? Like, it's so good and it inspires me. And I said we're halfway done and we're almost 3/4 done just simply because it's flown by for me. I thought we were only talking for 20 minutes. It's been like 45 minutes already. So I want to talk a little bit about getting started on this because one of the things you talk very eloquently about is procrastination, and you have another term for it, which I really love, which makes people feel a lot better about the fact they do it. But so here's why I want to attack this next. Okay, I got to get on this.
Yes.
I'll do it later. Okay, I know I need to do it. I need to do a little bit more research on this. Okay, I know I need to do it after the summer's over when my kids go back to school. I know I need to do it, but right now I'm just really unclear about it, or I'm not feeling it, or I've got to wrap up this project. And it's just, we just get around to getting around to being the best in our life. And so it's a major factor. And to me, it's one of the very few certain things that blocks people from ever experiencing their potential is this notion of, okay, it's delayed procrastination. First off, I love what you call it. Do you suffer from it? And what can someone do right now to stop doing that?
Absolutely. So this is great because this takes me back to how I broke through the wall. So my very first book, Take the Stairs, you mentioned, so it hits the New York Times. This is how I broke through the wall, and that book solves the problem of procrastination. And there's actually 3 types of procrastination, okay? So the first one is classic procrastination. That's what we all think of. Consciously delaying what I know I should be doing. Mm-hmm. Okay, I know I should go to the gym. I don't want to do it. I know I should pay my taxes. I don't want to do it. Okay, that's classic procrastination. That's not the most dangerous type, though, because we know when we're doing it. The second type of procrastination is a term that I coined, we coined, called creative avoidance. And creative avoidance is different because it's subconscious. It's subconsciously filling the day with trivial work or menial work where you get the payoff of feeling busy. Like you're in a lot of meetings, you're moving a lot of paper, you're answering a lot of emails, you're doing a bunch of stuff, but yet when you get to the end of the day, if you're honest with yourself, you realize that actually you were nothing more than busy, just being busy.
The millions of heads are nodding right now going, yep, I got that one.
And a better word for that would be distraction. Right? You go, I'm just going to pop on, and check Instagram real quick. And then, whatever, 3 hours later, you're on YouTube, like searching about how to drop an egg from a 2-story building and not have it crack. Like whatever happens. So it happens. But then there's a third type of procrastination, which we identified in the first book, but we didn't know it would be such a hot button, and that's what actually became the second book. And so the third type of procrastination is what we call priority dilution. And priority dilution is fascinating because it has nothing to do with being lazy or apathetic or disengaged like the first 2 types, but it's the same net result, which is that at the end of the day, your most significant priorities are left incomplete, not because you're lazy, but because you have allowed your attention to shift from less significant to more urgent tasks. Somebody struggling with priority dilution is living in a constant state of interruption. They're always dealing with fires, is the word that they use. And it affects the very people you wouldn't think to be procrastinators. It's the do-gooders, the checklisters, the taskmasters, the owners, the executives. And so procrastination is something that all of us struggle with. The answer is I definitely struggle with it. I struggle with all three types of it. That's why I wrote the book, right? Because I was most powerfully positioned to serve the person I once was, which was trying to understand the psychology of how do ultra performers overcome procrastination.
So good. One of the things, I want to keep going. We're going to go a little over. It's too good. I wrote The Power of One More. In my mind had the chapters in there I thought that would resonate the most.
Yep.
And probably I was right on some of them. But the one that I had on there on time, multiplying time and efficiency, surprised me at the diversity of people that it resonated with, the different strategies that I teach. I thought that was
like your 3-day day? Your 3-day day?
My 3 days in a day.
Yep.
And I thought to myself, that will resonate with only really high achiever entrepreneurs, right? That'll be that one chapter that they'll all get. But the people that aren't certainly in that space, it won't resonate. Actually, not true. I really resonated with a lot of people. And it's not the most resonating chapter in the book, but it's one of them. And you talk about this idea of sort of multiplying your time.
Yeah.
And I'm just fascinated with your take on this because you've got this idea of procrastination or creative delaying or whatever the heck you're going to term it. The three types is brilliant, by the way, as always with you. But what about this idea of multiplying the time? Because someone's saying, okay, I got to do this personal brand, but my kids are in soccer.
Yeah.
Or, I'm getting my degree right now. I'm a junior in college, or I'm getting my MBA, or I've got my main business. My husband works as well. I've got to make sure that I at least work out, and I'm just like, wow, there's 4 seconds left in the day for me to do this.
Yeah, let's be real about it. So that's the struggle, right? Is like, and what's crazy is you go, how is it there's more books written on time management than ever before, right? There's more courses, and yet we all feel more busy, buried, and behind. One of the things that was in our research study, 38% of people are checking their email and social media in the bathroom. Yeah. Like, what could be more efficient than that? Like, there you are doing 2 things at once, sometimes 3, and like you're just like you're using every single second.
Yes.
But we're still never caught up. We're still overwhelmed. We're still buried, and it's because we don't understand how to multiply time. And I think the biggest reason we don't know how to multiply time is because you've been told your whole life the one thing that is impossible to create is time. And it's wrong.
It's totally
Everything you know about time management is wrong, but this is above all. Now, here's the thing. So when we say multiply your time, Ed, I mean it literally. It's not a superlative. I'm not exaggerating. I mean it literally. Now, there's nothing I can teach you that will create more time inside of one day. So we all have the same 24 hours, which is 1,440 minutes or 86,400 seconds. I can't give you more time in a day. But that's exactly the problem, is that most of us live in the world with a one-day paradigm. We wake up and we say, what's the most important thing I have to do today? It's a one-day paradigm. That's not how the multipliers think. That's not how ultra performers think. What we noticed is they're not thinking about today. They're thinking about tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And we call that the significance calculation, right? So Dr. Covey introduced importance and urgency, and we added a third dimension of that, which is significance. So importance is how much does it matter? Urgency is how soon does it matter? But significance is different. Significance is how long is this going to matter? And when you make the significance calculation, you break free of the paradigm of one day. You start thinking about the future, and this is how it's possible to multiply time. I can tell you in one sentence. This is a whole book, my whole TED Talk in one sentence. You multiply time by spending time on things today that create more time tomorrow.
Oh, very good.
You spend time on things there are certain things that you can spend time on today that create more time tomorrow. And this is a whole nother subject that we were kind of breaching here, but like online bill pay is a great example. You would go, if I said you have 2 hours in your day, you should set up online bill pay. People would be like, what? That's stupid. Like, what a trivial, insignificant use of my time. And I'd say, no. That's not how a multiplier would look at it, because a multiplier knows that if you spend 2 hours today setting up your online bill pay, and it saves you 30 minutes every single month from paying your bills, then after just 4 months of time, you will have broken even on that investment of time. And every month thereafter, you will be getting something that we call ROTI, return on time invested. It's creating time. Another flagship line. So the book's called Procrastinating on Purpose. The TED Talk's called How to Multiply Time. One of the other flagship lines is, automation is to your time exactly what compounding interest is to your money.
Outstanding. It's while you were talking, I'm like, this is the difference between spending time and investing time.
Yes.
And then you come up with compound interest, right? Like, there are some things you're going to do where you're spending time. You have to have parts of your day in your life where you're investing time. This time I'm investing is going to pay a return for me at another point. Most people just spend their time. What's incredible is Rory and I had not met when I wrote my book, but in the book, as you know, I use the term multiplier over and over. I even have a chapter called What's a One More Multiplier as a person. You can add people to your life who are multipliers also, to your organizations, to your personal life, to if you're a coach, to your sports teams, etc. Where'd someone begin on this, Rory? So let's go to social for a minute. Give me a little bit of your vision. You're a visionary dude when it comes to this stuff because I'm in it. Sometimes you have the ability to be above it. So I'm in it. I'm operating every day. I've got a podcast. I've got a YouTube. I got a TV show. I got Instagram. I got LinkedIn. I got Twitter. I got Facebook. Yeah. I got, my personal interviews that I do. I got my speaking. I got all my businesses. So I'm in it a lot. It's important to have people around you who are above things or at least listen to a show like this. Okay, I want to build my personal brand. I know some of it involves social media. At least some of it probably does, right? If I'm going to have it. I mean, in some way, shape, or form, probably going for it.
That's the current mechanism. Mm-hmm. That's one of the current modern day mechanisms.
Where do I go? So do you like TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube? You don't care about the profile? And what would I just do first? Like, okay, I got an Instagram account. I got 1,700 followers. I post once a week. I post some stuff on my story. And I know it's a broad question for a real diverse audience we have people here that are welders, fitness models, high-end CEOs of companies, influencers. I've got, everybody on the planet. Or different, not everybody on the planet listens to my stuff, but diverse backgrounds on the planet. What would you say?
Well, straight up, legitimately, the first thing I would tell you to do is go to freebrandcall.com/edmylett and request a call with our team. Because the first thing you need to do, people ask all the wrong questions, which is, should I be on social? Should I write a book? Should I be a speaker? Should I do a podcast, right? And we're all lost in the tactics. The first thing you have to do is find your uniqueness. You have to zero in on your purpose. You have to get clear on your identity. Identity is another thing that you and I share a lot in common. The power of knowing who you are and why you're here and who you're meant to serve. And forgive the humble brag, we're the best in the world at helping people find their uniqueness. There's just not, our uniqueness is helping people find their uniqueness. So there's just not anyone better. So I would say check out freebrandcall.com/edmylett. Now, separate of that, you could take what we've talked about here and, whatever, and kind of try to take yourself through it. Then you pick a vehicle for that self-expression to take place.
Self-expression. Okay.
Right? Yeah. But here's the thing, to this whole conversation about multiplier, reputation is the ultimate multiplier. Mm-hmm. Reputation is the ultimate multiplier, right? Mm-hmm. Like when John Gordon introduces me to you, or you go, oh, you worked with Lewis Howes, or hey, there's these other people that I know that you've worked with, that matters. And then we develop a relationship. One of my favorite concepts that you talk about in The Power of One More is how you're not as far away from success as you think.
You're not.
You're one more attempt, right? It's one more strike at Sheehan's wall. It's one more hit at the piñata. You're one relationship away, right? And what I'm realizing is that in a way, you needed me. I was that relationship for your book launch.
Absolutely.
And I need you, right? So it can be that fast. But your reputation matters. So in an all practical sense, the platform doesn't matter. Okay. It's not, is it Facebook? Is it TikTok? Is it LinkedIn? I don't care. Pick one and focus on it, right? If you have diluted focus, you get diluted results. Pick one and do it. And people are like, oh, well, what technology, what CRM tool should I use? Doesn't matter. the best answer to that question is not what's the best technology. It's the one you're most likely to implement.
You're right.
That's all that matters.
The one thing on that too is like when we met, so how much what you've said today is valid. We met, I saw your uniqueness, right? Like, okay, this guy's different. This guy's special. I believe this guy can help solve my problem. But it was confirmed, frankly, when you said, by the way, and this is just the one person. There's lots of people you've worked with, but you said, actually there were two. You said, you know what? I've helped Eric Thomas and I've helped Lewis House. I said, cool. And we hung up. And then I confirmed. And I didn't know that. That reputation was confirmed. So that's why that what you said earlier, that endorsement from someone else, even it doesn't have to be a well-known person.
I don't have millions of followers, right. But it was testimonials.
Testimonial is what confirmed what I already felt. I saw the passion, I saw the talent, I saw that you could solve some problems for me, and the testimonial confirmed it. So like we are literally a living example of the things that I don't care if you have a gardening business, you're a landscaper, you had better have a couple testimonials that I can call or that I can interact with or that you can show me that tells me you can solve my problem or help my family be happier by having a more beautiful landscape design at my house or whatever it might be in your life. You're 1,000,000,000% right about this stuff. Okay, last question for you. First off, I want to thank you for today. So I know it flew by, didn't it? Can you imagine already?
So fast.
I want to thank you because there's a million podcasts that you and I can do together, and I'm going to have you back because I know everyone's going, hey, I didn't know this guy before, and man, I like this dude. This dude is special, and we've got all kinds of diverse stuff that you and I can cover. But the last thing I just want to do is on success overall.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a profile. You talk very eloquently about how our brains are not really wired to produce success.
Yeah, not.
Right? And so this is something, it gives everybody kind of a break mentally. So like, wow, he's right about this. So I just think I wish we kind of stuck this in the beginning because I think it's such a great point that you make. Hopefully everyone's still here listening because it's been so valuable. So the last part is about success and how we have to sort of almost overcome our nature in order to become successful. So I'll let you have that.
Yeah. So the classic take the stairs stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So the human brain is not designed for success. Mm-hmm. It's not. It's designed for survival. Mm-hmm. The primary function of the human brain is to keep you alive. Mm-hmm. Keeping you alive, survival is about... about conserving energy. Mm-hmm. Success is the opposite. Mm-hmm. Success is about expending energy. Success is about doing the uncomfortable. It's about pushing your limits. It's about doing things that are new. And so our natural default is not to be successful. But we are fortunate that most of us live in a world where we have the luxury of being able to pursue success because most of us don't have to worry about survival on a daily basis. It's something that we take tremendously for granted. But if you're going to pursue success, you have to rewire your brain neurologically. You have to understand the way that ultra performers think. So if you have struggled with procrastination, if you've struggled with taking action, if you've been distracted, if you've had diluted focus, those things don't mean you're doomed for failure. They don't mean that there's anything wrong with you. They don't mean you're lazy. They mean you have a perfectly functioning, healthy, normal human brain. Right. But the problem with normal is that it's normal.
Yes.
If you want to be successful, if you want to, you have to be extraordinary. If you want to be successful, you have to do something different. And here's the problem. You can't just do it once. This is probably my most famous quote. You see it ripped off on the internet all the time. But it's from my Take the Stairs book. Success is never owned. Success is only rented. And the rent is due every day. Why? Because our human nature for indulgence and temptation and sin never leaves us. We default to the escalator mentality. We default towards the easy. Safe, comfortable thing. And success is about taking the stairs and doing the things you don't want to do and doing the things you know you should be doing each and every day over and over and over again.
So good, Rory. So good, man. I just love you. I'm so glad we did this today. I'm so glad you're in my life. I have to tell you, everybody, one thing about taking those stairs, stay with me on this last, and then I'm going to tell you where to go find Rory one more time. Here's the thing. The thing I know about ultra performers is their threshold for what they must know before they act is lower. And for people that struggle in life, they've got this huge threshold. I've got to know so much before I will take action. And the higher that threshold is of what you falsely believe you need to know to take steps is what holds you back. Ultra performers have a lower threshold of what they have to know before